Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our office hours today. We look forward to sharing with you some new information about KubeArmor. Today, we have Ashok and Praveen here with us from the cybersecurity team, and they will be providing a full breakdown of CVE 2022-0185, which is also known as Container Escape. They'll also be giving us a live demo to show us how we can protect our workload from such vulnerabilities by leveraging KubeArmor. Praveen, over to you.
Yes, thanks, Jen. That was a wonderful intro about it. So let me start. Okay, I hope I can able to see my screen. Okay, I'm going with the slides. Okay, so that was a good intro. So we have another work session. Okay, another office hour. Okay, let's start one by one. So in this office hours, we are going to see about how we are going to defend about the latest CVEs, which is in the 2022 found in the Linux kernel. How can we defend against with our KubeArmor? So let me see our agenda. So today we're going to see about the describing of the CVE, then understanding our basic security principle. Then one more topic is similar, why we need to cap admin privileges. Then how this vulnerabilities happen by this parameter function. In this demo, we are going to show, Ashok is going to show in GK cluster. In the GK cluster, he has which has a 50-50 option. Sometimes it's going to work, sometimes it's not going to work due to the system GK is prevented. So it's a 50-50 percentage. So we are going to provide in the GK cluster itself. Then we are going to show how can we exploit it, how attacker is going to exploit this. Then finally, foremost one is how KubeArmor is going to defend that vulnerability. So let me start with this without wasting much time. So the credits to this vulnerability is William Blue and Jamie Hill Daniel, who found this vulnerability in Kubernetes cluster in the rapid release channel. So how this vulnerability reflected when where it's affecting the Linux kernel itself. So kernel is nothing but it's going to interacting with the components. So that's a major part which making it occur. So the Linux kernel version is affecting it between 5.1 and 5.15. The 5.1 version is released in 2019 March. Then 5.15 released in 2022. So in between the 3 years of journey, till that vulnerability lies. So these guys have found that this vulnerabilities. So to exploit this vulnerability, we need one more permission, which is syscap admin capabilities. So we are going to see how syscap admin capabilities also. Then how is attacker going to exploit this means using heap buffer flow attack. This is not a famous attack. So we are going to see this by using this function going to affect this. Basically, if buffer attack means there is some function going to overflow or underflow. So we are going to do this by this function. From using this functionality, a non-root user going to get a permission to the container itself. That's basically elevating the privileges. So next we are going to next. Yes. So why we need to go with the basic security principle? So in Accuknox also we are going to follow two base model. One is the zero trust model. Zero trust model, then is least security model. So why we need to follow zero trust means, so we need to in the production environment or development, we need to trust anybody. So like that, there's a never trust, always verify. So next one is least privilege model. So when we use a component with the least privileges means, so we can reduce the attack surface by using. So we can use privilege escalation, reduce privilege escalations. So that's why we want to recall about the basic security principle. So come again with the cap sysadmin. Cap is nothing but the capability. Sysadmin is a module which have a permission. So come back to a Linux kernel. So why we need what is the capabilities? If you look at it means in a Linux kernel, they're going to interact with the hardware and the application layer. So we couldn't able to give all the system calls to be a privileged one. So they are divided into they convert into a capabilities. Currently now there are 40 capabilities going to support latest kernel version. The latest kernel version is 5.1. 16. Okay, so let me talk about the capabilities before saying something about history of capabilities, right? So capability is nothing but a Linux kernel that grants a process and binary execute with the specific privileges. So some capability is going to have some privileges. So that's why if some person are able to attack some privileges means we can able to easily modify. We can that one person of going to be attacked, other kernel will be not going to be attacked. So that's where they convert to capabilities. So we are getting isolated. Capabilities are isolated. In 1990, this capabilities was introduced in the version of kernel 2.2. So kernel developers start breaking into privilege of root user into restrict capabilities. So come again with our motto is caps admin. So it's similar, it's like a sudo. When we got similar, not a accurate, it's a similar commands. It's going to be a capabilities which can able to perform some system operations like where to mount, unmount, pivot, swap up. These are the privileges can able to. These are the important privileges can attacker gets means we can able to elevate the access. For this CVE, the pod should be have this capabilities. So we have covered how this attack has happened, then which the capabilities should be present. So final most is how this attack is happened basically. So when we send 409 bytes greater than to this legacy path function, it's a function which is written in the binary. So when the attacker sends more than this number of bytes to this kernel means that it then won't be if overflow is going to happen. So this is sended by a f config system call, which is used for configuring a system creation contents. So this using these two things, so attacker need one more additional thing also is caps submit. So when these three combined can able to perform the non-root user to escape, which means basically a container escape into root level access. So I think I covered all the pods. So over to Ashok. Ashok is going to share how going to attack and prevent via KubeArmor. So Ashok, over to you. I hope you can share your.
Yeah. Thank you, Praveen. Yeah, I'll share my screen. Okay. Okay, can you able to see my screen?
Yeah, we can able to see it.
Yeah, okay. For this demo, I'm going to use Google cluster. So I already created one cluster. So I'm going to execute the vulnerability on this particular cluster. For this demo, I'm going to divide in two parts. One was attacking part, another one was defending part. And the attacking part, I'm going to show you how to exploit this vulnerability, and the defending part, I'm going to show you how to defend this vulnerability using KubeArmor. So here I'm using my Linux system. I'm already connected that cluster with my Linux system. So, okay, first we have to deploy our vulnerable container. So I'm going to use a Ubuntu container. First I am create one. Here, first I'm create one namespace that was called demo. So this is our one container YAML file. You can see that it's just a Ubuntu container. So I'm going to apply this policy. Okay, the container was created. So let's check the container was in running mode. So we have to mention the namespace also. So the Ubuntu pod was running. So for executing the vulnerability, we have to go inside the Ubuntu pod. So we mention the namespace name here, execute IT, then the container name, sorry, pod name, bash. The bash means it give bash shell. Okay, now we in that particular container. Here the terminal. I'm give ID. So here you can see I am the demo user. Who am I? Okay. You can see I'm a demo user. Actually, this if we exploit this vulnerability, it will give us a root shell. Currently, I am a demo user, so I'm going to get a root shell using this vulnerability. So for executing this vulnerability, we have to first move to this demo user home directory. So and demo. If your container using different user, you can use demo cd home your username. It will move that too. So for that, now we have to download the exploit. So you can use this link for downloading the exploit. Okay, I'll download. Okay, sorry. You have to use wget command for download. Okay. Okay. This will download the exploit on your computer. So just wait for the download is complete. Okay. Okay, the download was completed. So let's check the file was there or not. Okay, you can see we download the exploit file, but it's not have execute permission. So we have to give execute permission. So for that, I'm going to use chmod x because we now mentioned that exploit name, and again check. You can see now the exploit file has execute permission. So now we can execute the file. Okay, I clear the screen. So okay, it took some time to exploit, or it sometimes not will not work because it will restart the container. So if this was not working, you have to retry the same method. Just to retry the steps, it will work. Okay, it took time, so I'm already run that command previously for the demo. Here I am already executed. It took time, so that's why I'm already executed that one. Once it's completed, you get this like this. You get that root word, and you can see I'm got sh shell. So let's type. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Okay. Here I'm getting already root shell, but already done. I clear this. And again, I am run the execute Ubuntu part command. Okay. The command. So, it's down. Okay, exploit file. Okay. you have to retry every time if it's failed, because here it's again failed. No problem. Okay, the previous one was deleting. Even keep errors. Okay, for me, this was not working correctly. So you have to again try that steps. Okay. Okay. Here you can see now I got the root word, so it means it was worked. So just wait few seconds, it will give the shell access. Yeah, here see I got a shell, so I'm just run id command here. You can see now I am a root user. So I'm run who am I? You see I get the root user. So you can see it took so much time to run, but if you got the exploit was failed, just retry that, it will work. So here now previously I'm in demo user, now I am getting the root access. Okay, clear the screen, sorry. So you see I can go, now I'm in the root directory, I can access the root files also. So here I'm give exit. Okay, now I am the normal user. So what I'm going to do, I am again going to try to log in inside the Ubuntu pod, but you can see this time it will give GKE node access. You can able to see GKE demo default pool. It means once if we executed the exploit inside the container, again next time any user try to access this particular container, it will give node access. So we can able to access the node. You can see I'm in, okay, the you see I can now I can able to access Kubernetes files and container. So once if we executed the vulnerability, it will give node access. So okay, let's see now how to prevent this vulnerability. We can prevent this vulnerability using KubeArmor. So first time came out. So any user, if again try to access, it will give node access. So okay, yeah, okay, it's clear. For KubeArmor, first we need to install KubeArmor. For installing KubeArmor, you have to go this particular repo, GitHub KubeArmor. You can install KubeArmor using simple word KArmor call. KArmor install. It will install the KubeArmor on your cluster, but you have to install first KArmor on your cluster. So for that, go this depot and click getting started, and here deployment guide. Run this command. It will install KArmor on your computer and run KArmor install, and it will give some guide how to use KArmor. If you don't want to install KArmor on your computer, then you can also install KubeArmor manually also. For that, you click deployments and go to GKE and click that YAML. This was a KubeArmor deployment YAML. So you can deploy KubeArmor using this, click raw and copy the YAML file, then go to your terminal and create one YAML file. So I am already created one. So I'm showing you here. So I already created a YAML file using that YAML. So now I'm going to execute this. This screen. Real. You can execute. You can apply the YAML using this way, or you can just copy the URL and give it here instead of the YAML file. Okay, now KubeArmor was installed. So now we have to check. We have to check the KubeArmor was installed or not. So for that, check kubectl get pod and -n kube system. Okay, here usually KubeArmor files will installed inside this particular namespace called the kube system. I'm using grep for filtering the particular KubeArmor pods only. So you can see these are the KubeArmor pods. Every pods are in running stage. Here you can see it's 3 pods because I am using Google cluster that was using 3 nodes. That's why it's created 3 pods. If you're using one node, it will create only one pod. Okay. So now we installed the KubeArmor. Now we have to apply the policy for that. Just to go this directory, KubeArmor policy template. You can find so many policies here. Every policy is for some particular vulnerability. So currently we are executing the CVE. So yeah, you can see this is our vulnerability, CVE-2022-0185. So you can this policy. You can also use other KubeArmor policies for different vulnerabilities. So you can copy this file, or you can use this click raw and use that one. Before going to use the policy, we have to change the labels first. Here you can see the namespace and match labels. So you have to change the labels first. For namespace, it's in default, but we are using demo. So change this demo, and for match labels, you can find the match labels using. Okay. Okay, it's terminate a problem. Oh. Once you okay. Oh, okay, no problem. I have to forget to mention the namespace. Once you exploited the container, it will change the status to AppArmor. So before going to apply the KubeArmor, you have to delete the pod. It will After you deleting, it will becoming a normal state. So I copy this pod name. Okay, just wait for its becoming running state. Okay, let's for labels you have to run this command kubectl describe pod and pod name, and you have to, if you using any namespace space, then you have to mention that namespace also. Okay, so that you can see labels are there, so you have to copy the label and you have to paste this label on. You have to change this. For this scenario, it's using app Ubuntu pod. The both label are same, so I no need to change the label. If you, in your case, it's in different, like pod, that pod name, so you have to change the labels also. Once you change the labels, then copy the file. Okay. Yes. Okay, now pod is running state. So okay, I'm already created one YAML file. Okay, this is the same KubeArmor YAML policy we're using. So here I'm changing to demo, and the app name is source same, so no need to change. So for this, I'm going to save the YAML. Then we have to apply it. Apply this. Okay, the policy was created, so we can check the policy was created or not using kubectl get KSP. Okay, it's showing no resource because we have to mention the namespace also. Okay, this is our policy. The KSP means it's a name of the policy. I'm just to mention the 3 letters of the policy name, so it's nothing. So I clear the screen. Now we applied the policy. So what I'm going to now. Okay, now I'm going to again try to exploit the vulnerability. So let's check the KubeArmor was prevents work or not. You have to mention the namespace also. Dump. Okay, now let's check. Now I'm a demo user, so now I'm going to try to exploit the vulnerability. For that, we have to move the home directory. Now we have to download the exploit. You get and the URL. You can use this. Okay. The exploit was downloaded. You can see now we have to change the. We have to give execute permission. What? Okay. Okay. Smooth. You have to give small letter. Okay, now it's green color. It means it's executable. I clear the screen first. So it's, yeah, you can see now the exploit was not executed. It shows some error. It means our KubeArmor was worked. The exploit was not going to work anymore. And KubeArmor also will create alert message. Okay, for that you can first splitted this terminal. For getting logs, you can get logs using two methods. One was KubeArmor method, that was very easy, and another one method was you have to check manually every running KubeArmor parts. So now currently I'm going to use KubeArmor because it's easy to use. So if you don't know KubeArmor commands, no need to worry, just go the GitHub repo and go getting started. Deployment guide, scroll down. Yeah, here you can see the getting alerts from KubeArmor. So you have to run this command. It's forward the connections to terminal, KubeArmor to terminal. So I'm just in this command. It will forwarding connections to this particular port. So now we can able to get the logs from KubeArmor. For that, just run KubeArmor log. Okay, and write a new terminal KubeArmor and type log. Okay, try to see log. Okay, it's running. Okay, for me it's failed, so no problem. We can use second method, but second method was little bit hard to use because we have to do manually. So for that, kubectl get pod and kubesystem. Okay, yeah. Here you have to check every pod. These three pods will contain the logs for usually. So for mostly the last pod will store the logs. So you have to first check the last pod, then check other two pods. So for that, kubectl mention the pod name. This time the pod name was kubesystem. Kubesystem, and copy the pod name and replace the pod name here. Close. Execute, and -fi tail means it's on Linux command. It will, okay, for easy to use. Remove the tail. I am using the cat command here, and the log location was temp KubeArmor log. It will contain the logs. So execute this. If this file doesn't have the alert log, then you have to check other two pod also. If you're going to use KubeArmor means it will very easy. You have to just run the two commands. One was the port forwarding command, then KubeArmor log. It will give the logs. So okay, here we able to get the logs here. You can see the lost command. The source was you can see someone tried to exploit the system. Here it will give timestamp and update time. Here it also give host name. The host name, you can see this is the node name, and namespace also it will give, and which pod try to execute this vulnerability, and it gives some more information. You can see it hard to read because we tried manually. If you using KubeArmor method means it will give some, you can easily understand that format. So here again, clear this terminal. Now I am going to use tail. It's similar like cat, but it will still inside the container. So if anyone try to exploit it, it will create the logs. You can get the logs from lifetime. You can see. Okay. So that's it. We can prevent this particular vulnerability using this. And if you have to protect some other vulnerabilities, means you can get so many KubeArmor security policy. We have so many policies for different vulnerabilities, so you can use, or you can also create the KubeArmor policy if you want. Or if you want to create KubeArmor policy, security policy, you can use this. Go to this repo and scroll down here. This is a guide for creating KubeArmor security policy. So you can create your own policies, or you can use this predefined policies. Okay, that's from my side. Okay.
Yes, that's a wonderful
Yeah.
demo from Ashok. Yes, over to Jenny.
Yeah, Praveen.
Yes, I think
You can continue.
yes. So Jenny can take over.
All right, thank you, Praveen. Thank you, Ashok. I appreciate your presentation and your demo. I have just a couple of questions that I was hoping you could address. First, why would someone choose KubeArmor to fix container escape vulnerability?
Yes. Okay. So suppose we are running a cluster which is in the production environment. We don't want to disturb our production environment, but we are running this type of vulnerabilities which is publicly available. Means we can use simply install KubeArmor in it. With a single step, we can able to protect without effect of other running application. I that.
Give some one example for this. If imagine you are using running on website on a cluster using a container, you find that your container is vulnerable for this particular exploit. So you have to prevent this vulnerability, correct? So in traditional way, we can update the latest version, so it will prevent the vulnerability. But for that, you have to stop your website for some particular time, because it's need maintaining server time. If you don't want to stop your website, at the same time you want to patch your exploit, then you can use KubeArmor, because KubeArmor will patch the exploit in runtime. So you no need to stop your
Yes, I think that's suits for your answer.
Wonderful. Thank you for the explanation. And one more question. What if someone wants to contribute? What are the ways they can contribute to KubeArmor?
Yes. Okay. Let me go through that. So here we have how can we contribute to KubeArmor itself? So we can suppose if we are good at programming, means you can able to, we have some issue which is openly live in KubeArmor. So you can able to resolve that issue, or you can go with the good first issue. You can able to resolve that issue. So if you want to contribute a new feature, means you can able to do this. Here you can see, right? Yes, this is how you can able to contribute to the new feature. Is a KubeArmor. Just poke this repo. Then these are steps which you can perform all other commands. Just give clone, then deployment guide. So this ways you can able to code changes itself. If you doesn't want to make a code changes, if you want to make changes in the PR itself, which we are Ashok is shown that KubeArmor policy. If you want to do this, or if you want to do blog, or if you want to make a feedback, or if you want to make a meetup with KubeArmor, so these are the contributions we can able to do it. By policy templates, we can have also guys can able to do this. So these are the repos which is publicly accessible. So anyone can make a PR to related to this to secure entire container workspaces. So if you want to use blogs also, it's welcome to us. Then everything is communicable to KubeArmor Slack, which is publicly accessible. So yes, these are the ways we can able to persons can contribute to KubeArmor.
Great, thank you. I appreciate that information.
Okay.
All right, I think that concludes our office hour for today. Praveen, Ravi, thank you for your presentation and your demo.
Yes, thanks.
I look forward to learning more about KubeArmor.
Yeah.